Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers, and join me today to talk about the NCAA legend Rex Kern, quarterback out of the Ohio State. Help me out and talking about this legend is my guy from the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network, Mr. Jay McLovin. Jay, say what's going on to the people out there and let them know what you thought when doing your research about Mr. Rex Kern, the man you see here on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, Rex Kern is probably one of the few people that actually got a championship from the great University of Ohio. Congratulations to him as a quarterback. The NFL had him as a DB, though.
Yeah.
When he left college, they converted him over to a defensive back for the Baltimore Colts. And then, of course, he round up with the Buffalo Bills at the end of his career. He was with the Colts from 71 to 73 and the Bills in 74. Interestingly enough, he was Ohio State's quarterback from 68 to 70. And he did go undefeated, Logan, in 68.
That he did.
And they became national champs. He went on to get drafted, believe it or not, in the 10th round of 1971 draft. Now, this guy was 5'11", 190. By today's standards, wouldn't even qualify as a quarterback. But he is a two-time national champ, Logan.
That
he won it in 68 and he won it in 70. And but I thought it was interestingly enough, I'm going to tell you a quick little story that I think is really interesting. He was the Colts NFL Player Association rep during the union strike in 1974. Now, here's interesting. When the strike ended, he went back to the Baltimore Colts only to be cut or waived by then new GM Joe Thomas. Now you say, well, why was he waived? He was waived because Joe Thomas said, you cannot play for me if you walk out. That was it. And so then he went on to play a little bit with the Bills to finish out the 74 season, after which he had chronic back pain and then called it a career. But how crazy is that? You know, you think the union would protect you, but then you go back and you find out you don't have a job.
It's a cruel world, Jay. It is a cruel fate, unfortunately, for Rex in the National Football League. And you mentioned his back injury, right? He suffered that back injury, and it had been having lingering effects all the way back to his freshman year in college back in 67, right? When he was on the freshman team, he got hurt. But he wasn't even hurt playing football. He was hurt playing basketball. But he had back surgery. Imagine getting back surgery in your early 20s. It's got to be rough, especially as an athlete.
Oh, yeah.
But then to come back, become the first string quarterback as well for the varsity football team, ahead of a guy, Bill Long, who had been the quarterback in 67. So not only that, I think that tells you just how good this guy was, right? The fact that he had a chronic injury that would usually just honestly shut a lot of people down, maybe not even play again. But the fact he come back and beat out a senior who had already been the quarterback is crazy. So just for them to get the start was great. And as you mentioned, they won the national championship undefeated as well in 1968, and that is a team that our guy, Mr. Football Offensive Center, likes to always refer to as the Super Sophomores, and rightfully so, Jay. When you look at that team, right, I'm going to name you some of the guys on there. So a lot of people say this might be one of the greatest teams ever, just in terms of talent. So they had Rex Kern, Jack Tatum, Jim Stillwagon, John Brockington, Mike Sensabaugh, Jan White, Bruce Janikowski, Tim Anderson, Larry Zelina, Mike Vladich, Doug Adams, and Mark DeVec. I hear 3 Hall of Famers right there, Jay.
Yeah, I did.
I hear Kern, I hear Tatum, and I hear Stillwagon.
Yeah.
So
I didn't pick up on Stillwagon. I picked up on the first 2. I did not pick up on Stillwagon, but I picked up on the first 2.
So the Super Sophomores, right, Jay? They finished their 3-year varsity career with a record 27-2. 27-2. And when you think about Rex Kern, kind of a revolutionary player in a sense of play style. And I say that because not a lot of quarterbacks are getting a lot of running yards back in the day. Kern was doing so. In college, had 3 seasons of over 500 plus rushing yards, which were high numbers for players back in the Big Ten and also in the late 60s, early 70s. So that is how good he was. Like you said, went undefeated that season, named most outstanding player at the bowl game, Jay. Not just any bowl game, the Rose Bowl game against the USC Trojans. And against, as we know, who was leading USC that year. That's the Juice, O.J. Simpson. Beat them 27-16. That's how good Rex Kern was doing in college, Jay. But then in 69, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a guess how many points per game Ohio State averaged in the year 1969.
I'm going to say 21.
Oh, brother.
23?
23? Brother. It's a lot higher than that. In 19,
wow.
You're seeing numbers that, whenever people talk about the LSU Tigers from what 2019 with Joe Burrow and everyone, they were putting up a lot of points. Jay, this team in 1969, mind you, was averaging 46 points per game.
Damn.
46 points per game.
Wow.
Like I said, they were doing good, had a rough loss against Michigan that year. But Ohio State still won that season, Big Ten co-champs with Michigan. And Kern was also third in Heisman voting that season in 69. He was also named a first-team All-American. But Ohio State did not play in a bowl game. So they were doing good there. Like I said, super sophomores in 70 came back, won the Big Ten outright, got their revenge against Michigan, and they were just kept on rolling there, right? Kept doing good. But Rex Kern was a team captain in 1970, finished 5th on the Heisman in that season as well. Like I said, they lost in the 70 Rose Bowl. And they lost in 1970 to the Stanford Indians at that time, led by a guy who we know of in Mr. Jim Plunkett. So just a legendary battle there. Unfortunately, Rex and the crew could not pull it out. But like you mentioned, a guy who kind of gets lost in the realm of college football, but was the leader of a team, Jay, who went 27-2 during their prime and put up over 46 points per game in a season. So Rex Kern, a guy who doesn't get a lot of flowers, Jay, but that's what we're here to do, here to showcase and recognize his talents as a player in football. So Rex Kern, heck of a career, man. We tip our hat to you. For Jay McLovin, I've been your host and producer this afternoon for the show, Logan Landers. Guys, if you enjoy the episode, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe. And until next time, we'll talk to you again on another